Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's stream. We're on day 14 of this National Novel Writing Month. We are at 25,037 words. That is 50% of the way. It doesn't mean an absolute fucking thing because we're still on day 14. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see where we're going with this. Tonight we're gonna take the crew to meet the library. Let's see that. Hello, you stupid bitch, Madison. Hope you're doing well. And I ate Mr. Gaddy's tonight, so I am miserable. So, there we go. Panic over work things. That's really hard not to do. I really don't have any advice for you. All I can tell you is that if it's in the future, it doesn't matter because there's nothing you can do about it. And if it was in the past, it doesn't matter because there's nothing you can do about it. Tomorrow's gonna come no matter what. Yesterday's already happened. And I know that does not help at all, Madison. It does not stop that anxiety. But, you know, well, good. I hope that helps. I really do. Because stomach issues are not a fucking joke. Hey, maybe the dog is just trying to be your blanket, you know? That pressure trying to make you feel okay. Frank, what are you doing? What were you licking? Maybe the dog's trying to save you, Madison. Or kill you. Who knows? Yeah, he was there for a second. No, he's gone. He is pretty gross. You haven't met Jolene yet, and she's a little worse. She's a little worse because she's in heat and rolling around wanting to be smashed, and nobody wants to do that here. No one at all. No one's interested. That's not. I wasn't. Have Have you seen Jolene? I might be suffering from memory loss, Madison. I might be having a stroke here. I like this one better. So somebody's offering to sell me the second book in that series that you're obsessed with for $12 a second book. And I think I'm gonna take them up on that offer and then find my hand how to get on the first one, because they are just like you. They say that that book just had a grip on them. Jolene was there. Well, I mean, we got her last Christmas. For some reason, I didn't think we had her that long. I keep forgetting about her, honestly. So you've been here since last Christmas. So, yeah, of course you've seen her. Sorry about that. Okay. Is it the first one? Hold on, let me just Let me just read off what the second one's called. Because we've got the physical copy of Iron Flame. That's the one that she has, and she's like, it's got a hold on me and it's hard to explain. So I'm really curious, because if it's the same one that's got you fired up, I don't want anything spoiled, but I need to know. Okay, so yes, tomorrow I'm going to get Iron Flame, and then I've got to find the first book. Okay. It's alright. That's why Instagram is there and the reels are there, is to send me 1,000,000 of them. It's just the way it works. It's okay. There's going to be similarities because they're made using the same pattern of storytelling. There's nothing you can do to escape that at all. It's the way it is. That's because both of them follow the hero's journey. It's a circle. It's cool. Here. I'll show you real quick. See if I can pull it up here. Okay. That's a really shitty version. Hold on here, I'm sorry. trying to find one. Well, let's see here. The reason that you see similarities is because hey Books, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. Because it follows this. Like, all stories kind of follow this, Madison. And that's why Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings seem similar. So that's just so you know that's what's going on there. I'm glad you're doing good, Books. Hope you had a good day. Snowflake and 12 plot line method. I'm gonna plot point. Okay. I'm gonna read about this later. This is interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna look that up because that just seems interesting. Thanks for mentioning that, Books. I really appreciate that. I have the snowflake one up here. I'm gonna look at the 12 plot line one too. Okay. I think you're probably right in doing so, because, you know, writing is organic and it takes multiple approaches sometimes. I'm always happy to find more, you know? I'm always studying the hero's journey because it's so massive. and in depth. It's just wild. See, that's reasonable. That's probably what I need to do, actually, Books. You're probably right. If I did, yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try to implement uh all three, cause why not? You know, it'll be good to have those methods going at all times to keep yourself in check. Cause I can go off onto left field, definitely. So yeah, I think I'll try that for sure. security, then they're gonna. Why? Yeah, if it's not going to be, if they're not wanting it out there, why did they even write it? And yeah, Facebook is a mess. All of social media can be a mess sometimes. You come across some strange people. Pepper's Dragon too far out. Let's go into, well, okay, let's just get there. Just a warning for you that aren't subscribed, you're gonna get an ad in 7 seconds. I'll see you back. Just a minute. Okay. Oh, really? That's awesome. You know that book's gonna be good. Alright. I think we're gonna call it there for tonight. Go ahead and update our words here. Let's bump this window up. Okay, tonight we wrote 2,700. Oh. 2,744. Writing at home. My laptop. My head's feeling kind of rough. Okay. Let's go ahead and update our number here real quick. So we're a total of 27,781 words. Okay. 56%. I'm sure it'll be as good as Legends and Lattes. Those books just made me feel good. I really liked them a lot. I never had anything negative to say about them, you know? That's why I think that you would also enjoy a very long journey to a very small angry planet or something like that. Okay. So that's where we are today. Let's go ahead and drop down. Go ahead and open up Super Space Trash Blues. Because that's what I'm calling it right now. That's just who I am. Right, Control A, Control C, over, Control V. Okay. Just checking something here real quick. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and read this, and then let's get the hell off of here. For now, until tomorrow, and we'll do this again. Okay. Chapter 14, The Library. Astrid awoke in her cold room with her head pounding from too much drink, and her body was swollen, stiff, and on fire. She moaned and rolled on her side. There was another flash of burning pain where, the night before, she had her entire body, from her neck to her feet, covered in thick lines of ink that had marked all the through of the Valmont. The only difference was that every other person's ink was black, and the artist had chosen white for her blue-black skin. He had said that it would look good after 2 cups of caffeine and a pastry made by Minsk. She rose from her bed gingerly. She could feel the wounds on her body because they were wounds sticking to her clothes. Carefully, she peeled them off and stared at the thick white lines that wrapped around her body. The artist had asked if they was to have the new healing technology, to have them heal in a day, but everyone had spoken for her and said she needed to go through the process just like they did. Unknowingly, she agreed. The hangover was nothing compared to the swollen heart marks all over her body. She eased out of the shower and into the kitchen area, and an hour later, where everyone was quietly sitting at the table with their heads lowered, each of them focused on a plate of food. She grabbed a plate from Minsk, who seemed cheerful as ever, and sat down. "I can't," Astrid said, sitting down. Hold on just a sec. Um, on her plate, there were 2 large sausages, a quartered roast tomatoes, scrambled eggs, hash browns, and a biscuit. That amount of food would have been outrageous even if she didn't feel like her stomach was turning upside down. But this was too much for anyone to consume. You got to, Alindra said. This is the best thing for that hangover of yours. Can't we just take pick-me-ups and be done with it, Astrid said. No, Forge said. We can't. His tone, though gentle, had a sharp edge to it. Whatever it was, Astrid didn't have the energy to argue. Instead, she dug into her food and ate with slow, small bites that after a while grew larger, and soon she was eating as much as the rest of them. By the time she had finished her food, her hangover wasn't gone, but it had receded enough that she didn't feel the need to complain anymore. The meeting's today, Alden said, picking up everyone's plate. Each of them grabbed at the remaining food. I'm ready, Astrid said. Who do we take it to? The library, Alindra said, wiping her mouth. That's the name? Astrid asked. That's the name, Forge nodded. After Alden cleaned the plates off the table, Astrid took the cups. Forge gathered the utensils, and Astrid found a cloth, dampened it in the sink, then wiped the table down while the others put away everything. When they had finished, they all went to their respective rooms with the intention of meeting in the cargo area within 15 minutes. Astrid had picked out the most mundane set of clothing that she could find so she wouldn't stand out so much. A set of green pants, a white shirt, black knee-high combat boots. Over that, she had put on a holster for a small laser pistol. She slipped the deck in its bag, 2 keyboards, one blue and one black, and hooked on the whole deal. When she met everyone else, she was glad that she had prepared as she did. They were all carrying weapons. Alindra smiled big with her hammer slung over her shoulder. Astrid wasn't sure how the woman could wield it as she did. It looked impossible, but there were things about Alindra that didn't seem possible at all. Though Astrid had never liked to be around anyone, even when they weren't talking, or Alindra wasn't being too nice to everyone. She felt safe and protected around the woman. Let's go, my queen, Alindra smiled. Lead on, Astrid smiled back. They all shared a chuckle and Alden activated the door. Winston, Alden said. Yes, sir, Winston replied. The ship is yours. I'll be a good boy. Everyone paused for a moment looking at one another, and then without another word they stepped off the deck into the narrow hall. It was a short walk to another set of doors that opened to a larger hallway that was clustered with blaring advertisements on holographic screens on the walls, ceiling, and floating above the thick throng of people that were walking quickly down the hall. Astrid paused. She had, of course, seen large groups of people her whole life looking out from the palace grounds, but she was about to be in the group, and there was an anxiety that she had never felt. But Alindra grabbed her hand, squeezed it, and she followed her friend into a sea of people of all races, shapes, and sizes. There was an array of smells ranging from good and decent to bad. People jostled her without apologizing, but the whole time she held on to Alindra, who, with her large hammer, created a space. Though ideas about orcs may have progressed after their almost self-annihilation, Astrid could see that everyone gave them nervous looks. More than anything, she wanted to tell everyone that they were wrong about Alindra, that she was more than a killing machine. But they moved fast, and their faces soon blurred and no longer mattered. They stood in a few lines and eventually were placed on a shuttle, standing room only, and entered Extortion's atmosphere. There was an announcement of places they were going to visit before it was refueled and returned to the station. Minx and Forge were talking away about ingredients for food and brew, while Alden and Alindra discussed different things they were looking for with their limited funds to buy for the ship. Astrid watched out the window as the metal-covered planet grew into the viewports. Soon they were in a deep yellow sky. Soon they were in a deep yellow sky streaking through thick clouds. This was the first time she would ever set foot on another planet in her entire life. Though everyone around her barely stared out the window, she couldn't stop. Seeing the ocean glimmering in the sunset, though it was just an ocean, to her it was a brand new ocean, with things she had never seen below. Time passed and she had realized Alden and Alindra weren't talking anymore. When she looked over, she saw that they were both staring at her and smiling. What? She asked. I wish I could feel that, Alden said, that first time. Something we keep chasing, Alindra said. Astrid didn't say anything. She had nothing to say. There was a feeling that was a mixture of elation and peace. This, she knew, was what she should be doing. Going to new planets, seeing new things, not burying herself deep in some fortress closed off into the entire universe. Live in this moment. Alden smiled and gripped her shoulder. It's the one that you'll never have again, Melinda nodded. She was born a spacer, Alden smiled. For the remainder of the time, both stood on either side of her and pointed out things that they thought were interesting, or they had information as the shuttle continued its journey, dropping people off and picking others up. An hour passed, and the city had eaten up the landscape with thick-story buildings that were placed against one another. Cars shuttled in grid systems with automated systems keeping them in space, spaced adequately apart. The shuttle cut through them and landed. Van Mori, Alden said as he got off. Once everyone had gathered at the station, Forge and Mink said their goodbyes and took a shuttle car to somewhere else. Aldrin and Alindra and Astrid all got into one large shuttle car that was driven by a robotic-looking humanoid. Alden swapped the card that he pulled from his pocket. There was a confirmation, an address, and payment. They lifted into the air. The boy's not coming with us, Astrid said. We're dividing and conquering, Alindra said. They're going to contact our friends in the underbelly to see what they've got on the GC concerning you, and we're going to talk to the library, and we'll meet in the middle with a lot of information. That's a good idea, Astrid nodded. Plus, Forge is scared, Alden said, leaning against his spear. Scared, Astrid frowned. Of what? Alden pointed. Of that, Alden pointed with his backpack where Alindra had hidden the shard. We all are, Alindra shivered. The shuttle stopped in front of a narrow two-story building with a single metal door in the front. There were no windows, and no one seemed to be getting close to the door of the building. They walked through, and Alden swapped the card. The door hissed open, revealing a set of dusty stairs that went downward into the earth. Cold air blasted them in the face. As they descended, pale blue lights flickered to life, casting elongated shadows on the opposite wall. Astrid could feel herself shivering as they kept following down the stairs. The loud rumble of the city above went quiet, and soon she could only hear their breathing. The stairs stopped and opened to a large room where columns were rising from the floor 50 feet up to a concrete ceiling. These columns went on forever, it seems. Each one of them had a layer of frost over thick metal. Man, I fucking used thick a lot tonight. There was a deep rumble and hum, but other than that, there was nothing else. Alden walked down to the center of the columns. Light again illuminated in pale blue at their feet. They stopped once. Astrid couldn't make out where they had come from. Alden took out the card again and laid it on the floor. The card lit up and there was a loud click from somewhere. Rising from the floor, a figure in all in blue. The colors changed and the features began to form until standing in front of them was a woman 8 feet tall, without any clothes, and featureless except for 2 magnificent blue eyes. Alden, the voice echoed. Welcome back. It's good to be back, library. Why are you here? She asked. We've got something for you to read, he replied, but it's dangerous. Dangerous, Alindra nodded. Into the world dangerous. More like into the universe dangerous, Astrid said. The library regarded Alden for a moment before she bent down and held out her hand. Alden stepped aside and Astrid pulled out the shard and held it to her chest. It was cold and burned her skin, but she was more afraid of what it could do to this woman standing in front of her. I am older than even you, Varillian, the librarian said. What you have is no surprise to me. Astrid nodded and placed it in the woman's palm. She closed her hand over it and tilted her head backward to look at the ceiling. The humming grew louder, and the woman's image flickered. This is a lot, the woman replied. If you can't read it, Alden nodded, then don't try. I've got to try. The library gripped the shard tighter. The distant humming grew and grew until it was rattling Astrid's teeth. The giant columns of servers worked to process the data as it came. Numbers, answers, and the depth of the infinite were trying to open into something finite. A few columns around them shuddered, and ice cracked and crumbled to the floor. The room started to grow warm, and then everything went dark. When the humming came back, the shard was lying on the ground. The servers were back up and running, and the blue lights slowly returned. But there was no library. Astrid picked up the shard while Alden shouted her name into the maze and columns around them. There was a set of squares on the floor that lit up. Alindra followed them, and the other 2 fell behind. They walked for a long while until they came to a massive concrete wall that also had a layer of ice. Behind that layer of ice was a door. It opened to a room of machinery that none of them had ever seen before. Technology that had been lost, rediscovered, and reinvented. In the center of the mass of cables running this way and that sat a woman wearing a dark set of blue robes. Her head had been shaved, and 16 different cables were coming from plugs in her heads. There was a cable connected to each finger as well. Across the front of her eyes, there was a metal visor that was fused to her skin. "Close the door," she said. "It's cold out there." Alden did as she said. There was nowhere for them to sit, just stacks of decks with different symbols painted on them. The wires had entire sentences read out on them, beseeching something or someone to give the library safe passage through the intergalactic information database. Incense filled the air. "What is this?" Alindra held out her free hand. "This is where I talk to God," the library said. "What just happened?" Astrid asked. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," the library said. "Just we can't talk about that thing in your hands out there." "Why do you say that?" Astrid asked. "Because of that," she replied. "It isn't supposed to exist, and since it does, that means there's a lot that wasn't supposed to exist that either does or is going to soon enough." I don't like the sound of any of that," Alden shrugged. "I'm still processing the data," the library said. "If there's something that you need to get." "What would that be?" Alindra said. "There's another shard," the library said, "but this one isn't as dangerous." "What do you mean?" Alden asked. "The stellar shard you have," the library pointed, "is the end of everything. The shard you need to get is just its herald." "Where is it?" Alden asked. "In Dekti," the library said, "on the other side of the planet." "The mining town," Alden nodded. "They've just dug it up and recorded it in their databanks. When I scanned this, the readings came up a match." "That's good," Alden nodded. "That's not good," the library said. "Why is that?" Alindra asked. "There's something else watching the system, something old like me, an entity that knew what to look for, and they found it too." "So someone's coming for it," Astrid nodded, "besides us." "We got to get there." Can't get anywhere without the sheriff's permission," a voice drawled. In the corner, as if he just materialized, Giles Gurney stepped forward, slipping a metal disc into his pocket. "You were invisible the whole time?" Alindra growled. "Followed us down here and everything?" "Of course," Giles replied. "I told you that we'd be doing this together." "How did the library not see you?" Alden frowned. "Oh, she did," Giles smiled, "but we're partners." "We're not partners," the woman replied. "Just friends." "Well, I'm hurt," Giles frowned. "So," Alden gripped his spear, "are we going?" "We're going," Alindra nodded. "This is very important," the library nodded. "Will you please leave the shard with me?" Astrid looked at everyone in the room, and though she wasn't sure she should be trusting the woman, there was something that told her that they didn't have a choice in the matter, especially with the way Giles' hands stroked the butt of his pistols. Astrid placed the shard in the woman's hands, and the woman let out a noise as the cold burned at her skin. "I want to see if I can read deeper into this," she said. "Figure out what exactly this is." "Keep at it, beautiful." Giles made his third hand into the shape of a gun. "Don't do that," the library said. They left. Alden in front, Giles next, Astrid in the middle, and Alindra in the back. They walked in the dull blue light while the cold pulled at their skin. Their footsteps echoed around them. "So, exactly how are we going to get this shard?" Alden asked. "We're robbing a GC train," Giles smiled. "Lovely," Alindra growled. Alright. Day 14 is done. It's over. And I'll tell you right now, I don't know if, out of all the chapters that I've worked with, I'm pretty sure I did not like that chapter the most. There were a few chapters before that I thought that I might get rid of, but that one I really might get rid of. I'm not a fan of it at all. So we'll see. I kind of wanted the library to have a stutter. I kind of wanted the library to be a little bit more fanatic, because the library in my head believes that God is in the internet. So I might work on that one later, but for now, there's that. The group is going to, well, one part of the group is going to find the other part that is going to get the train. I don't know if I'm going to go to Minkskin Forge or if I'm going to switch to something else. We'll figure out tomorrow, and we'll go from there. again, thank you for dropping by. I really appreciate that. Thank you for talking to me. Thank you for the good ideas books. I'm really going to implement those. I really am. Might write those out or print those out and have those around me when I'm not doing this, but when I'm, doing the full thing. Other than that, I hope you guys have a good remainder of your night. I hope you sleep well. Sleep is the most important thing that you can give yourself. And I hope you have a good day tomorrow. I hope it is well. So you guys have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow.